Hello, I'd like to talk to you today about the reasons why we should use creative methods when we present and disseminate our research. Even people who are really sceptical about creative methods can see the point of doing this because creative methods of presentation and dissemination are a whole lot more engaging than the more conventional methods. When I first used to go to academic conferences about 20 years ago, people used to literally read out what they'd written and then be surprised when they ran out of time because you can't read 8,000 words out in 20 minutes. And it wasn't interesting to listen to. Even if the subject matter was interesting, it was really difficult to stay awake, frankly. And it's not only that creative methods are more engaging, but there is evidence that the use of creative methods improves people's understanding and their retention of the information we convey. So that's clearly very important for us to consider as researchers. Let's think about some of the methods we could use. For presentation, there is an argument that all presentation of research findings is embodied, and embodied methods are currently regarded as creative. Think about it, we can't do a presentation without our bodies, so it must be embodied, although the extent to which we want to foreground that is the area where there is debate. We can use arts-based methods when we're presenting, if we have the skills or the materials to do so. We can use interactive techniques, so that can involve anything from call and response calypso songs, Janice Fournillier used these in presentations in America, to technological interaction through tech apps like Mentimeter, which lets you do a little poll with your audience anonymously, so they can just use the app on their phones and key in their response to a question that you pose. Or Slido, where your audience can pose questions for you, which can be anonymous, and also other audience members can upvote or downvote these questions to indicate the extent to which they're popular. So you can figure out which questions to answer when you've only got time to answer a couple and there are half a dozen. Interactive elements help to keep the audience engaged, just as other creative methods do. And using creative methods for presentation and dissemination fits with the widespread inclusion agendas, such as the government's public engagement agenda, academia's agenda of widening participation, and other such inclusion agendas that are around in the statutory and third sector services. When it comes to dissemination, we might use things like comics or animation, if we have the skills or the budget to do so. Or we might use some photos or some creative outputs from participants, which are lower cost, but again can help to bring our research to life in the academic journals or the blog posts or wherever it is that we're disseminating it. We shouldn't just choose methods because they're creative. We should choose the methods that will help us to do justice to our research as we present it or disseminate it. And we should also choose methods that will meet the needs of the audiences we present to and the readers or viewers of our research reports, or indeed listeners if we decide to report through, for example, a podcast. This is more important than meeting the requirements of research funders or research managers or commissioners, although of course we would need to take those into account. But generally speaking, people in positions of power around research are likely to accept creative methods of presentation and dissemination where they may not accept other creative methods. So it can be a kind of useful sort of thin end of the wedge for helping to spread the message about the merits of creative methods to those who are still not convinced. It's also true that the methods we use should not stretch us as researchers too far. If someone asked me to present my research findings using the medium of interpretive dance, I would have to confess that I don't have the skills to do so, where other researchers would do, but I don't. And I wouldn't try, unless I was going for comic effect, when I think I might be really quite successful. So there are some things to think about when you're considering how to present and disseminate your research. Creative methods should always be considered in conjunction with conventional methods. They're not better than conventional methods, but they offer us more options. So we can think more carefully about how to reach our audiences, how to do justice to our research, and how to make everything a little bit more engaging for others and perhaps also a little bit more fun for us.